Okay. I believe that we are streaming. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We are going to play Apocalypse Keys.
Flipskis.
Woo! Items.
I am Christiana Ellis, the Keeper of Doors, and our players tonight, Nobilis as John Deere,
Hi there.
Millie Katie as Lady Dana,
Hello.
Paul Weimer as Ningle,
We return to the division investigation of the Manananggal murders in Manila, featuring me, Ningle.
and David Archambault as Pandorum.
Oh, I wonder what fun things are gonna happen tonight.
And continuing in our theme of having one person missing every session, we are absent Jason tonight, unfortunately, but he'll be back again soon. But in the meantime, we will proceed with our investigation into the Manananggal murders here in Apocalypse Keys. You know, will our menagerie of monsters manage the Manananggal murders?
Maybe.
We shall see. So yes, our team of Omen class monsters dispatched from Division have been sent to the Philippines to help solve the mystery of a serial killer who is targeting a population of Manananggal, who are monstrous individuals who do not threaten humans, but nonetheless would be considered monstrous by humans. They look much like humans, except that they can unfold bat-like wings and they can separate their top half from their bottom half and fly around in that way. But someone has been killing them, and our monsters have been looking into that investigation. But we had a quick substitution last time where in the middle of the investigation, John Deere received a notification on his tablet, said, huh, and then disappeared through a portal, only to be replaced by Lady Dana, who had been recovering from food poisoning and did not enjoy suddenly being teleported. But, John, you were tapped by your employer, Death, with a capital D. It turns out that someone down in South America had been trying to create an army of clones of themselves, and it went disastrously wrong, resulting in an explosion and death of both the original and 57 fully grown clones, complete with memories of that person, all dying at once. And as the souls wandered around waiting to be processed, they all insisted that they were the original. And it took...
That's, yeah, definitely a mess requiring executive intervention.
Yeah, it took some doing. There was a lot of paperwork. It was kind of a pain.
Yes, but at the same time, the solution that I came up with was, okay, 56 of you are lying. One of you is not. I think that treating all of you as liars is going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. And that unless they all like absolutely believed it, which,
well,
giving clothes possibly.
Yeah, and see, yeah. the additional complication there is the question of moral responsibility, because the original, with his intentions on this project, certainly evil.
Yeah.
But the clones were created to be perfect copies.
Yes.
And so, in a sense, they would be innocent, except that they have within them the consciousness of the individual who set out to do the evil act.
Yeah, you know something, in that all that stuff is the kind of thing that gets junior Reapers bollocksed up. The important thing is they're dead. and our job as Psychopomp is not to decide where they go, but just to bring them there.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's the problem really is that you have to kind of explain to the gatekeepers. It's like, I know that you've got one entry in your book for this guy. This is extenuating circumstances. The paperwork probably is actually more on the matter of the filing from the death side to get it to go through the bureaucracy on the other side.
Hmm.
And that's where the intervention had to come in.
Well, and
Not
not
my
to mention,
specialty, but
the at the pearly loading dock, um, they weren't set up to receive 57
Right.
right.
individuals. They only had one guy on today, and yeah. In
Yeah.
any case, one.
Flashbacks to working in back rooms at retail. Oh,
In any case, with your assistance rendered to that situation, uh, your employer is able to return you to the division mission that was already in progress, um, and you were told, "Don't worry, we found you a sub."
Okay.
But now I think you find yourself suddenly deposited in what was the common room of this apartment building, and it looks like it had been in the process of getting set up for a very fun karaoke night. But now windows are smashed, tables are overturned, there's chips everywhere, getting ground into the carpet, and few little bits of spatters of blood. It looks like there was some violence going on there, and all of your colleagues are just looking at your sudden arrival.
And
Honest,
this and a slight lingering toxic smell.
Mm-hmm.
I looks like I missed the party.
I'm stomping around angry and raging about everything. So I am embodying my condition and going to take a couple of darkness tokens for that.
Yeah, actually, before I
But
forget,
clearly Ningle's been through a lot and is
Mhm.
not happy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Question for Ningle: with a snake body, how
Yeah.
do you stomp?
I
Taps the
like the
tail.
curl up, bong, curl up, move, bong, curl up, move, bong.
Oh God,
It-
what was that game? The
I know.
curly snakes.
I don't know, but I was imagining that like that you're just whipping the tip of your tail just against stuff. Like,
That's when I'm not actually moving, stopping. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise it's like a cat's tail except
mhm.
on steroids. Bang, bang. So I'm not helping the mess. I'm increasing the mess.
Well, so one question too, as we're jumping in, did everybody pick your impulse for this session?
I did.
Oh, that's right. I did
Yep.
not.
I was like, that was what I was starting to say. Oh wait, I should keep that.
I heard David's voice in my head.
mhm. Yeah, I have mine.
Mhm.
It's interesting,
Uh,
Paul. I'm not sure what does it, but sometimes your microphone disappears into the virtual background, and sometimes
And
it
sometimes
doesn't.
it doesn't. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Might
And
be
when
on
it's
a
connected
shirt.
to your shirt is when it.
Yeah,
when
I think the color of my shirt is too close to the microphone, so it's not.
Mm.
Maybe if I do that, yep, there. If I move the microphone just enough away, then it disappears. Hopefully, you can still hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's because I have the dark shirt that the
Mhm.
microphone doesn't like it. The
Well,
phone
or
doesn't
just
like it.
its little processing system gets confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yep. Okay. Impulse chosen.
Okay.
light and
Not
shade and
Welcome back, John. You've walked into something that's quite chaotic.
Okay. Quite chaotic. More chaotic than usual. or just the usual level of chaotic?
I think Myron probably says, well, right now it's less chaotic, but a few minutes ago it was very chaotic.
Yes.
And tells you the anecdote of how he and Ningle both fell out the window that's currently broken and splattered on the pavement below, and then had to walk back up the stairs.
Or slither in some cases.
Uh-huh.
And I apparently, I, I apparently destroyed an individual while just trying to keep them from hurting anyone.
There's been a lot of collateral tail whip damage. This
Hmm. And I think at a certain point, Sister Teresa has, she and Sister Dax had both arrived just as kind of the violence was finishing. But
Yeah,
as
well,
things seem to
yeah.
have stabilized, they suggested that you perhaps not utilize the common room for the ongoing discussion of the mystery. I mean, obviously, to some extent, the cat's out of the bag a little bit, but
is there a room or quarters we can use? I mean, we've not actually had rest since we arrived on the plane. It seems to me. Yeah, is there any
well,
quarters we can use, or
Go
things
to
just get
I
the
believe,
garden maybe?
I believe Sister Teresa's room is.
yeah. I mean, she's certainly offering it to you, but she doesn't have like beds for you or anything.
Nothing else than a place we can talk and
Hmm.
fill John in.
I
And
mean,
actually, out of character, I believe we were already in there,
I
and
Towards the end, yeah, we were moving our way there. I think.
the wallpaper peeled back to
Oh, that's right.
Right,
You're right.
Oh,
that's
You're
right.
yeah.
right.
That
You're right.
is
You
where
were
we
coming
finished.
right.
Is
You're
that
right.
you had been in the Sister Teresa's, and the wallpaper had started to peel down, revealing various archaic scripts
Right.
written on the walls beneath.
So actually, it's probably a fairly fortuitous time for your arrival, John, since accessing and deciphering knowledge seems to be one of your things.
Hmm.
all righty.
These other two didn't quite recognize it, if I recall correctly.
That is correct.
Okay.
And I know a lot of languages, so that's saying something.
actually,
At least I
Um,
can recognize the languages.
well, I can do that. Um, I don't have any darkness tokens, but let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my move Death Walked here.
Okay.
Um, and it'll kind of show me what happened, which hopefully will tell me how the inscriptions got here.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll just roll 3.
Okay.
So
Wow. That's almost as low as you could possibly roll.
Wow.
Um,
the laws of the dead and dying are compromised somehow. The keeper will tell you what happens next.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So I think that what happens here is that you are it- your little indicators and
Uh-huh.
and pie charts.
Uh-huh.
What sort of format do you suppose you get your information in when you're looking at the tablet this way?
Well, I mean, I might like summon up devices to scan and illuminate. I get because of like the bleed of popular culture, there might be like Ghostbusters thing with the wings that pop up and down, and there might
Mm-hmm.
be um uh 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 you know night vision goggles sorts of things, or something that shows up just on his
Yeah.
tablet. There might be set up um, uh, lamps or things to kind of shine unusual frequencies of light on something in order to
Mm-hmm.
reveal stuff, kind of, like ultraviolet shows up blood and stuff like that.
So
So
do you have like
um,
little sort of like little drones flying along and scanning the
uh
walls, or you think is it all like handheld stuff?
I think it would be handheld stuff.
Okay,
Drones tend to get out of control
sure.
sometimes.
So in any
Uh,
case, as they are trying to scan some of these strange characters and glyphs that are apparently written on the walls under the wallpaper, you start realizing that the scanned language is not merely appearing on the screen, but is starting to bleed out and appear like on other parts of the device.
Oh no.
And then the whole thing is starting to feel a little squishy and heavy in your hand, and you realize that this conjured scanner device
uh-huh.
has transformed itself into some kind of a strange sort of like monstrous biological thing that is opening up a mouth from nowhere and trying to bite you.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just kind of like I'm going to um throw it on the ground and point at it and say, "Somebody kill that thing." And I'm going to take two darkness tokens for telling someone else to follow, giving instructions to someone else. Uh,
I will
and
be happy to kill that thing. I
Well,
will.
before you act too quickly, you certainly realize now too that this effect is not limited to the scanner that John had created, but in fact the script seems to be crawling off of the walls, and whatever sort of object it manages to sort of crawl onto, it is transforming in much the same way. And
Oh
so you
Lord.
are now starting to be surrounded by a small swarm of common household items made into little mimic monsters.
lovely.
Mhm.
I
I'm going to give
think
somebody else a chance to act here.
Draw,
I think
draw some weapons and start smashing the things. Obviously,
I think
violence is the solution.
uh what Pandoran would like to do would be to just throw his hands and uh make everything, all the little pieces stop, and then just kind of um you know stop their motion and then just age into dust.
Well, you can certainly give that a shot. Let's see the roll.
My thought was power through darkness.
Sure. Well, so power through darkness is definitely like that's
Or would this
you
be
know what? How about
unreachable?
this? How about this? What I was imagining is that and unleash the dark, the basic
Okay.
move,
Yeah.
would probably not be enough to like finish the threat right away, right? And then power through darkness is usually intended to work for like a more extreme use of the power, right? When you push the limits of your supernatural powers, straining to do the extraordinary or avert imminent danger. So basically, it's like a higher stakes move. So I'll allow you to do that one to kind of handle this threat. But what I'm letting you know is that if anything goes wrong, it's going to go wrong bigger.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Okay,
Perfect.
look at that. Perfect hit. You use your powers with great precision and effect, changing the situation before you. Additionally, I may offer you a reprieve, golden opportunity, or a bond with someone. Um,
I
you know
think a
what?
bond with John Deere makes
Yeah, I
sense.
was just going to say, yeah, that not only are you essentially doing what John Deere said, but I mean, I would imagine you're impressing him. Um, you
Hmm.
Yeah,
know,
I'm okay with that.
so yeah, just go ahead and describe. Well, I guess you kind of did, but you use your time manipulation powers.
Yeah. Think everything goes in, and could it be where I thought the um the words and and writing turns to dust, but not the objects themselves.
I mean, yeah, although I think that these objects are not going back to what they were before.
Well, I'm thinking more like, trying not to rob Sister Teresa of all her stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that the stuff that
Okay.
has been transformed in this way is not going to go back to normal.
Okay. Well, yeah. So just and just like every you know the kind of the room shivers as time is being manipulated, and all the objects that were trying to advance towards us stutter and just and shiver and just break down into dust. And once everything's done, Pandorum will look at Teresa and say, "Sorry, I think that's better than us getting attacked."
She looks down at the piles of dust and says, "I just bought that toaster." Yeah. Well, in any case, I didn't want it to eat me either. So,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. So
Same.
yes, you
Cost-benefit
can
analysis.
take a bond with John Deere as a result of that. But yeah, so like the text obviously seems to have
Yeah. Been
it's
destroyed.
had some, well, it's all distorted now, so it doesn't look like it would be like legible in any meaningful way, but also it looks as though whatever power was imbued in it was resisting being understood by outside influences.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, and as part of this, um, well, I guess that wasn't Unleash the Dark, so never mind. I was shaped by despair.
Mm-hmm.
Move would not trigger.
Yeah. So, but yes, so that I think that there are some lines and never mind it. I think all the text is basically distorted beyond recognition at this point, but at the same time, Sister Teresa is looking at them and just saying, like, this wallpaper has been up as long as I've been here. If this was all here before, I don't know who could have done it. Could this have been whoever's doing this? Could this have been happening or in the works since the building was put up?
How old is the building?
It was built in the 60s.
Beans could have been planted long ago and just had the right conditions to germinate recently.
Indeed.
And then
Maybe
who are
may
the
not.
oldest residents of the building, Sister Teresa?
well, there was Jin, who's missing now, of course, or not missing, but rather found,
Right.
and Letitia.
Hmm. And yeah, very dark look goes over Ningle's face. And then it tries it, then it fades away.
And mine too, because she's not been telling me what I want in a way that I want it because I'm impatient.
Mm-hmm. And I think Sister Teresa's. You don't think Letitia had something to do with it, do you? I mean, she's the
He
leader of
knows
this community.
something. She definitely knows something because there's that whole mirror nonsense in that other apartment. Oh, wait. I didn't tell you. Oh,
No. Ningle growls. No.
so
Did
in
not.
the abandoned apartment, there's a mirror and it has power and it sees the darker side of what looks at it. And Franklin's gone. And before me, there was probably a Manananggal who was influenced by it.
I think Sister Dax says, "Oh, that man with the phone.
Yeah,
Goodness, good riddance. He was quite a pest." And then Sister Teresa says, "Sister Dax, I don't think she means that he left."
no.
And he says, "Aha, understood. Sorry for interrupting. Please proceed." He sits down.
Hey, you might need to sit down there, Dax. Did that did that mirror make you eat Franklin? I'll just say it outright because we're monsters, and Teresa
My,
and Dax need to know.
from what little Letitia was able to tell me, it was me, but under the influence of the mirror. And it looked like I was, I saw it as me seeing my body walking away and having quite a time. But it was something that I had thought about, but had decided not to do. But this side of me did it anyway. So something about the mirror takes the reflection of what you wouldn't otherwise do and
And do it.
does it.
Which means somebody who could be a leader, and Dingle's words are very dripped out. Leader of the community, a paragon of the community might do something they normally wouldn't under the influence of this mirror. Am I understanding you
She,
properly, Lady Dana?
yes, but she seemed rather disturbed at the thought that anyone had looked into the mirror in the first place.
Does she even remember?
She knows of. I remember what I did.
Yes, but
So
to be
any
frank, you're a higher class of monster than she is. You might have psychic strength that she doesn't.
um she seemed surprised that anyone had been in there. So unless she forgot.
Unless the
And
mirror kept her, unless that dark side of her kept her from remembering what she's done under the influence of the mirror, so that she would continue, so that she would not do anything to the mirror. The,
it's possible.
a, a, we have, if this, I gesture to the walls, if this is as old as the building, there are very few suspects.
Right, but it also would be possible for perhaps someone younger and more impressionable and less battle hardened as your
Letitia,
paramour was.
I give a slight smile.
Um,
But
so it's
but then who
possible as
planted the
our
seeds then? Unless we're talking time travel, I give a glance at Pandorum.
or we're talking about this was built on a place of power and that power transferred to the building. There's a
Mm,
number of possibilities.
yeah, I am not the metaphysical expert of this group. I am the one that hits things.
Sister Teresa, what caused so many Elsewong to gather in this building in particular and not some other one?
Well, it tends to happen somewhat organically over time because if you, for example, are a family that is being forced out, whether through physical violence or just you know, the expressed displeasure of your neighbors and you need a place to go, where would you choose to go? Do you choose to go to another place that's going to be full of humans who may be afraid of you to the point of violence, or do you go to a building that has many like you already?
Like why there's such a lovely Cambodian presence in Lowell, Massachusetts. Excellent food.
It happened over a period of time, as you all may know, is it the Aswang, like the Manananggal, have been in this part of the world for, you know, millennia.
Ever.
But even as recently as a century or so ago, they had much more influence, and it's, you know, the winds have shifted against them somewhat in this part of the world, and they have more increasingly found themselves in needing to hide themselves and becoming more marginalized. And as a result, the places that they have found some degree of safety have increasingly been marginalized places like this one.
So perhaps there was a some unknown influence that caused that drew the first.
Well,
Uh,
it's true that these buildings were actually put up as intended to be sort of temporary housing for like migrant workers and that sort of thing. That was the original
Mm.
conception, but then they just became, you know, permanent residences that were out of the way of the rest of the city in some ways.
so perhaps there was some unknown influence in this area in particular that uh, perhaps influenced mortals from living here, and thus drew uh, monsters, if you might say, here because lack of mortals. And perhaps all of this is some representation of that power being reinforced by the population, sort of a cycle that perpetuated itself.
A feedback loop.
Well,
Yes.
what
And
to what end though?
Well, also it strikes me that these disappearances are all recent, right? There's not been a history of this throughout the building's history.
Well, no. Certainly, this has represented a change. It has always been the case that it is somewhat dangerous for the Manananggal to go somewhere by themselves. There's been, um, you know, violence or just other supernatural dangers. That's always been the case. You know, people go missing, people are killed from time to time. But this has been so different in the way that it happened, just because, as I think I've told you, that the, the Manananggal here know they don't separate themselves
Unless they feel
casually.
safe.
Like they must feel safe to do it, and so for them to go missing while in that state is unusual, and of course all of the other things that have started to happen. So the idea of violence or death is not new, but certainly the way that these have been happening, the finding of the bodies torn to pieces this way, is new.
whatever happened to Philip, yeah, Philip, I could see causing, you know, and I could see that causing a if that happened to one Manananggal and they encountered another, I could see that causing the other to be torn apart, seeing as it Philip essentially beat himself to death.
Well, but that's what part of what I don't understand is why Philip returned. What would make him attack his neighbors that way, his friends? I mean, I was told that he was attacking. He was violent before you needed to contain him. Sadly, we saw the result. But what would have inspired? What would have driven that change? That behavior?
I okay. I think I think it's the mirror. The mirror does cause you to basically unleash what dark impulses you have. But I don't understand why this thing that's been sitting there for
A long
a
time
long
is
time is
suddenly not.
suddenly being used.
It's a tool of someone now.
One thing that has been happening is that the Manananggal population has been declining. How how do Manananggal come about? Are they born as more in similar ways as mortals?
Mm-hmm. Yes. When one Manananggal loves another very much.
Hmm. And it is not one particular. I like some animals have a heart. Like I imagine, you know, bees and other insects
Mm-hmm.
have hierarchy where there are
No,
queen.
not so. No. And one other note that if you're looking at the facet of the mystery facet, the decline of the Manananggal, it's not
Yeah,
necessarily talking about like population specifically, as much as like
the loss of political and
right,
social
like
power.
there used to be wealthy, powerful Manananggal. There kind of aren't anymore. Increasingly, all of them are kind of being forced into these marginalized positions, and that's more what it is generally meant to be referring to. Although certainly, when all of you decide to do your Unlock Doom's Door move, it will be up to you how that
Right.
ties in and what it means.
I mean, if you think about the mirror as a source of very dark, esoteric power, if the Manananggal are declining in power, I mean, it's a shortcut to try to juice up the power of the Manananggal, however darkly and twisted it actually is in practice.
Mm.
It's a tool. It's a tool by somebody to try to regain that power.
Perhaps the perhaps it's a case of, it is a tool to regain power, and the Harbinger is trying to use it to. If the Harbinger is one of the Manananggal, then they are wanting to allow the Manananggal to regain power, and it's it's spreading its influence to others in order to allow them to influence power. I believe across the street there was a graffiti redemption and punishment.
Mm.
Perhaps
Redemption
that's
and
a sign that
punishment,
uh,
which,
that's
which sounds like
sign maybe left by the harbinger, telling what needs to be, what they wish to do for us.
redemption and punishment. It's an old story, Pandorum. We're going to bring back the good old days when it is a not to use a charge word, a fascistic impulse that appears again and again in history. We're going to reclaim. We're going to make things right again.
Right. And notable, of course, too, that the graffiti was not on this building to be read by others. It was specifically placed in the location where it would be visible from the windows of this building.
Mm-hmm.
So those that live here will know what is being called for.
Mm-hmm.
Is it punishment and retribution, perhaps, of the humans, or punishment and retribution of the Manananggal?
Redemption.
The redemption
would-
and punishment. You redeem and punish those who will not go along with your program, or not sufficiently pure, or not sufficiently part of the Ningalgas of aside the Volk, as it were.
So here's the question: are you all ready to actually begin the
I
unlocking
think
door
Yeah, I
move?
think we are.
I think we're pushing.
You're kind of
pushing
certainly
right
in that
Yeah.
we're
state
in that
where you're
discussion
puzzling
zone.
Yeah.
through it. So certainly, just as a reminder, the way that this move works is that certainly you're talking through the narrative of what you think has happened, but in doing so, what you need to do is draw a line from each of your keys to one of the four facets. And those facets are the Harbinger, the Door of Power, the murder victims, and the decline of the Manananggal.
And
Every
I'll draw the
key
line.
must. So sorry, just a moment. I didn't hear you, but let me just finish the thought. Each key must be connected to at least one facet, and every facet must have at least one key connected to it. But you can have more than one key connect to any individual facet. In fact, you will definitely have that because you have more keys than facets.
And facets. Mhm.
And so once you have connected all of them, we will make the roll, which will be you have, let's see, 7 keys. So it is a complexity 6 mystery, which means you will be rolling 2d6 plus 7 minus 6. So 2d6 plus 1 for your result.
Okay.
And so I was just saying that I'll draw the lines.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
So, and so, what do we think? I think the Manananggal salt, that probably has something. I think has something to do with the door power. What do you think? Yeah, the ritual to
Okay.
open it?
It doesn't actually matter whether they go together. Just draw the lines.
Right. Well, it's
Well,
true,
I'm-
but I think
I'm-
Well, we want a
Wait,
narrative.
I'm
You want a
wanting
narrative.
proof
Make
consensus.
narrative make sense.
Yeah.
Narrative
Okay.
makes sense. So
If anybody objects, then
no. But I mean, I think say why you think it makes sense, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
we can say yes or no. Yes, don't say yeah. Look, what's your thesis for that?
Manananggal salt is a powerful poison,
Mhm.
and like you know, if you're wanting to open a door of power, you need something powerful to make the key, and you know,
Well,
poison.
so yeah, that
Poison
I
is
buy
power.
that. Let's go for it. Make that connection.
It's a powerful poison further made from the bodies of the monsters that
Right.
Yeah.
you're dealing with. And the other piece, of course, of this is just in addition of the fun of kind of pulling together the narrative of it, is that depending on the results of the roll, all of this stuff may become factually true within the story and will influence what actually happens.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
Um,
Just for the folks listening in audio, the keys that we're dealing with, there was the stone sacred figurine that had been defaced and then placed in the location where the missing heart was for one of the victims. That was one of the keys. Another was a psychic vision of Jin, who had been a community leader before becoming a murder victim, swearing with magical force, "I won't tell anyone, I swear it." You found an infestation of insects that left blood and gore behind. And you found a dagger with a blood red blade that seemed supernaturally sharp. You found the mirror, which had previously, been discussed in this episode. And then the Manananggal salt just discussed, and then the graffiti that we just talked about as well. So that's the 7 keys.
Okay.
all right. So the graffiti on the building is clearly a message to the Manananggal, basically a clarion call and a warning that get behind the program or you will be trampled by the program. So I think that goes to the decline of the Manananggal. The graffiti is basically the warning sign from the Harbinger saying, "Be ready to follow me, or you will be taken out." So that's clearly harkening back to what I was saying before about
Right.
authoritarian impulses. So that covers that one.
The abandoned apartment is basically how the Harbinger found the ability to become the Harbinger.
The mirror's power.
The
Yeah.
desire. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So is that connected to the door, or is that connected to the Harbinger?
See, I was
I'm-
thinking the Harbinger.
Yeah.
but
I would
because
say the
that's
Harbinger.
that's what made the Harbinger the Harbinger is
Sure. I'm just trying
getting
to
that
clarify.
mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
Ritualistic murders. I think
Put that
these-
onto murder victims.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
the stone sacred figurine that John Deere found goes to murder victims. Clearly, that's helping juice up and amp up this. Yeah, the murder victims are tied to that because, I mean, in the most direct fashion, because it was in one. So I think that first one, the sacred figurine goes right to murder victims.
Okay.
So at least a few
also
more.
the bloody wings.
Right, but that wasn't a key.
Right. Wasn't a key, but it's, I think, part
Yeah.
of the whole.
The
Murder
insects and
yeah.
the dagger were both found in the proximity of the.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We have Jin, the dagger, and the insects yet to thing, and
Well, and the figurine.
oh no, that's
Well,
what I was saying. The
Okay,
figurine
so
goes to
yeah, the
murder-
figurine goes
yeah,
to the
the
murder.
figurine to
victims.
murder
Yeah.
victims. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we still have
Uh,
Jin, the dagger, and the insects still
I
a combo.
I feel like the dagger has something to do with the door of power, because it's it's so sharp it can cut sound.
You're thinking like the dagger from Philip Pullman's novels, the subtle knife.
Yeah, it's
I was thinking that too last week too. I was like, this is like the subtle knife.
Also, I'm thinking that the dagger would be what was used as part of the murder part itself. So that would go. more
But
to
the
victims.
murder victims are mostly torn apart,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
not cut.
yeah.
So
Right.
I'm thinking maybe they were interrupted and the dagger is meant, or the dagger was just hanging there in open sight to be for the door power. I like the subtle knife approach. You've been quiet, Nobilis. What do you think?
I mean, okay. I think you're kind of overthinking here.
Oh, quell surprise.
Okay, so I won't tell anyone. I swear it has magical force behind it. So that's clearly related to the door of power because there's power in places we don't expect it to see. So so draw a line there. An infestation of the insects in the rooftop garden that leaves blood and gore behind. Um, I would say that could there could easily be decline of the Manananggal. Blood and gore, just as um, like yeah, that works too.
I mean,
So the
that
dagger with the
that one wasn't meant.
no, that's fine. No, it's fine too. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
More power. And the dagger with blood red blade mixed among the garden tools. I think can easily go to murder victims. Or we can put it to decline of the Manananggal, but we've got everything connected on the right side. So yeah, put that to murder victims,
Okay.
and you're all set.
Okay. So it
I
looks
mean,
like
you guys seem to be having fun. So
Yeah, might not.
why
But
was
we
who was I
wanted
to interrupt and spoil
no,
it?
but we don't want to like leave you
Leave
out.
you out.
Yeah.
That's not
Look,
fun at all.
you guys, like, I'm just here to. I mean, it's like somebody joining an online game raid at the last minute just as the boss gets killed. I mean, just
so. I note that you drew the line from insects to door of power, David, which I don't object to, but isn't what Nabila said. So do we
Well,
want
So
to
to
talk about that?
I
decline.
wasn't meaning to do that,
Okay.
but I
And
was gonna erase it and he said to
that's
leave it.
fine.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to the rest of the group whether or not I change that.
I think actually it does make more sense to go to the decline.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see how it connects to the door.
Okay. So
Yeah. To me, it's either like
So,
decline or the
arrow
harbinger. But
goes to the door. And then blood and gore goes to decline.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
All right. You now have
No.
every key connected to a facet, and
Yeah.
every facet has at least one key.
And it looks suitably chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yup.
As one should expect for a mystery like this.
Mm-hmm.
All we need now is the guy to gesture at it and go back and
Yeah. Well, it just occurred to me you've used a very lovely blue to draw the lines here, but it could
It
have
should
been red
definitely be
yarn,
red.
right?
It should have been red yarn.
It should have been red yarn.
I just used
Well, we'll know for
default
next time.
color.
Yeah.
roll
No,
for next time.
it's a very lovely blue.
Hmm.
But so that means that whenever you are all ready, you can go ahead and make the roll, and we will find out.
If we are right.
Are you correct in your suspicions? Well, here's the other piece that I'll just kind of ask you to go ahead and say explicitly, because you didn't end up having a key directly connected to anyone, and so but you are is the theory here, you think it's Letitia perhaps under the influence of the mirror? Is that the
I
logic?
mean,
That's
honestly,
Nangel's theory, but
Yeah.
I think it's the what's the other the one that Pandorum and Ningle interviewed.
oh, you think it's what's her name?
Emily?
Emily?
Emily, yes. Yeah.
And
Like,
she's that's
I mean,
oh,
like,
yeah, explicate that.
It's someone who's someone, has some, I imagine, Letitia, she's old, wise. She knows not to mess with that apartment in that mirror because she knows there's power there.
Oh, she knows.
Knows
Yeah.
it can be bad. And
So thinking someone who
Emily-
might have been younger, more impressionable.
Emily might
More
have heard
callow.
about it, and it's like, And I believe one of the things she liked about her partner was kind of the unpredictability, how, you know,
Oh, I see where you're going with
power and
that.
just like, oh, this is new. This, who knows what's going to happen if I go into this place, and you know, if I fly in there, I won't leave a mark.
Oh, I see your theory. That's an intriguing theory there, David.
Yeah, I like that a little bit better.
I don't want my lover to be the person behind this, willing or not.
Right.
But
But
I'm trying to avoid
and
squelching that
and
for the
it
sake of
does
story. But
make sense that the that Emily, you know, if she's not near as, you know, personally powerful, then whatever influence the mirror has could be something that she does not remember when it's not acting.
right, because she doesn't right she
She,
doesn't have the
she
power to
doesn't have the
remember.
fortitude.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. I think you've convinced me, David, that's a viable theory. We'll see if the dice actually will accept that theory, but that's a viable theory.
I mean, because right, we'll have to see the dice to to find out. But I'm also just remembering is like wasn't the last one you interviewed her about one of the victims, and didn't she say that the last time she saw her they had had a big fight?
Exactly.
yeah.
They
Oh,
exactly. They had a
hmm.
big fight. There's some social juice right there.
So who's going to roll? Me or one of you?
You can roll, David. Why not?
Okay.
Go for it.
And it's going to be a plus
Plus one.
7 keys minus 6 complexity, so 2d6 plus 1.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh wow.
Well,
Okay, so that's
mm.
we were talking earlier about Novellis rolling a 3 and that being
oh,
almost as low as you could possibly roll.
this
Well,
was
in
as low
this
as you possibly
case,
roll.
Yeah.
2d6 plus 1 getting 3 means that it was as low as you could possibly roll.
There wouldn't be any number of keys I could have we could have had to it.
so
No,
No,
but
no, yeah, we
in
could not.
some
We could have.
respects, um, that is better. So, of all the different things that can happen when you do unlock Doom's door, mostly what a miss means is that that turns out to not be correct in some way,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
And so you're going to have to keep trying to figure it out. But the downside of that is that being wrong is going to have some consequences here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Everybody takes one ruin.
Yep. I did.
Everyone takes a ruin. Oh,
The
okay.
Yeah.
doomsday clock gets a tick on it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, I was just
And
trying to. So on a 7 minus, the door remains hidden. The theory was the wrong one. Every PC marks 1 ruin. In addition, precious time is lost and the doomsday clock ticks forward. Fortunately, it that does not automatically fill it like it did like with the
Mhm.
last time.
Last
So
one.
it does not mean that the harbinger has yet claimed the door. However, it means that you're getting very close. So let me first tick the clock.
which with all the uh, lines, it's probably a little more difficult than.
Well, it normally wouldn't be, although my roll 20 is behaving slowly for a moment for reasons that are not clear to me. But there we go. So, in this instance, let's see how this plays out. I am trying to go to the. There we go. So when the doomsday clock ticks to 5 on this mystery, we are going to receive yet another intrigue, meaning that we get sort of a little cutscene of what's going on here, really. And we see, we had previously seen a figure covered in black veils. Now we see that from beneath the veil are too many mouths, too many hands, too many wings. A symphony of discordant voices growl a forbidden prayer. A meek voice in the corner asks, "My liege, is this truly what you want?" And that is, we sense that a ritual has begun.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think though what we need to play out first is that in your theory that it was Emily and all of this that you had put together,
Mhm.
um, that means that um, So what were you going to do about it? Like what actions were you taking?
I think one of the actions would have been to find Emily
Mm-hmm.
to you know, get her someplace where uh someplace where she wouldn't be able to do whatever she's doing.
Also
Yep.
deal with that mirror.
Also, you're deleting all the lines off of your little map here because
Okay, we
So
do
it's a
delete the
Yeah.
line.
yeah,
yeah, yeah, because
unless
it's
unless
wrong.
someone uses a move to declare one an irrevocable truth, you do delete them. Now that does not necessarily mean that you cannot, when you try
Draw
the
the
move
same line,
again,
yeah.
try to connect the same two spots. Although I would encourage you to try to come up with alternate explanations for each,
Right.
just because it's fun that way. I'm going to briefly put us on the people tab, just
Second.
to
Oh,
remind everyone what Emily, Emily's, look here. And so I think, tell me, do you all go in a group together to try to go to Emily's apartment? Where are you going? And we can use the dramatic irony here that like we as players know that you're wrong.
Yep.
Yep.
I think we were going as a group because
yeah.
if she's a harbinger, we don't want to
Yeah,
bring too many not enough guns to the
Yeah.
gunfight.
yeah.
Mhm. I think as you're on your way there, there's definitely a sense here in the building like people are staying out of the common rooms. People have kind of retreated to their own apartments. You're not seeing a lot of people in the hallway. There's a heightened sense of fear in the building. But you go to the apartment that Emily shares with several other Manananggal, and you knock.
Pound.
What another?
Someone's not being subtle, so.
Have you met me?
So I
You
think that
wanted subtle. You should have gotten Mirren back there to do it.
yeah. So I think the door is opened with the chain, um, and you see a different Manananggal there looking at you with kind of fear and suspicion. Is what do you want? Who are you?
Where's Emily?
Why do you want to know?
Where's Emily?
Uh, that tone is not making me want to tell you, man.
We need to speak with Emily. There might be an issue that she has information on.
So, did you bring Sister Teresa with you, or?
I think we would have
Mhm.
like asked her
Probably,
to
yeah.
come.
Because I think she needs to know.
Actually, I can imagine Sister Teresa insisting on
Well,
coming.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like I think they would want to come unless you had told them to go somewhere else. But I think Sister Teresa will kind of step in there and kind of give you a look, Ningle, like
Yeah,
you're
Nico's a little
trying to
pissed.
antagonize the other. Remember,
Um.
everyone else in this building is a victim, is what she's kind of trying to convey
Okay,
with a look.
that's enough for me to dial it back a bit. Sister Teresa has the Catholic sort of guilt
But
thing.
so in any case, she kind of intervenes and just says, you know, uh, Stephanie, we need to discuss something very important. Is Emily here? And the Manananggal you saw there says she won't come out of the bathroom. And I think we will sort of gradually montage the agreement that a couple of you are let in, you knock at the bathroom and there's no answer, and then eventually you break in the door and you find just her lower half left abandoned and the window open.
Run to the abandoned apartment and see whether or not she's going to the mirror.
Yeah, because we're still under the impression that she's still good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm going to say when you go to the abandoned apartment, the mirror has been smashed.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, you were wrong. You were wrong about your theory.
Yes, yes, we were. Yeah, but
Yeah.
we did, but only our characters figuring it out now.
Mhm.
So
So I think that is Pandora's like sees that and it's like,
Well,
don't think we were correct.
Yeah.
I think something has a. I think we've lost time.
Yeah. The
We-
I think that there, in addition to like the smashed mirror, I think you see that there's drops of blood and smudges in the dust on the floor in there, but no other like there's not any like a body or anything. But it looks like there's been activity in there.
okay.
So I think that um, the Emily's roommates are shocked that she's not in there, and they're saying that like she was really freaked out by the attack. We thought she was having like a panic attack and just needed to like breathe it out, but I mean I don't know where she would have gone, like, and so they seem to just like they're really concerned about her.
Alrighty.
So yeah, so you can try to you could try to grasp another key, or you could tell me what else you want to do. I mean, unless you want to just jump right
Oof.
into, well, if that wasn't right, then maybe this is.
I think that's a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
Anything else risks ticking more clock.
the
Mhm.
clock is close
Yeah.
close
Yeah.
to
So
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you know,
We
2 minutes midnight, as they might say.
you have a sense that there is already a ritual underway.
right.
Rooftop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Can we
would
have
be
the
good to
diagram
see
back?
what's going on.
Oh yes, sorry, I put
Yeah.
it back on the stream, but let me put you all back on it as well.
the rooftop seems like a good place to do this. Let's go to the garden. Try to figure this out again.
Where
All right. Yeah, let me.
the gun.
Not sure. Yeah, so you should be back on there now.
You're on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my roll 20 is just moving very slowly. I'm not sure why. All right, so you all rush up to the rooftop. I think. Well, so here's the thing. I'm going to ask. I think so. Are you planning to just go ahead and do another unlock Doom's door move? If that's the case,
Yeah,
then let's
absolutely.
just
I
talk
think
through
so.
it first before moving and going to other locations, because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of flirts with getting new clues and
Yeah.
ideas, or that could
Mhm.
influence what's actually being
Right.
decided, right?
So I'm gonna say an infestation of insects on the rooftop garden that leaves blood and gore behind is related to the door of power.
Okay. I'll let someone else do the lines this time.
How does this work?
I was like, I don't know.
You click where it starts, click where it ends, right click to it,
Okay, there we go.
All right.
and then right click
Um,
to stop selecting, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
let's see.
Let's see.
Uh,
Well, look at
And
what we had last time and not duplicate anything.
we don't have to. We can duplicate. That's not a problem.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, but
We
right.
can-
So it's fun to try to come up with a different theory for stuff, but it does not mean that you cannot make the same connection.
Yeah. Uh, see.
So in the space where the heart was, a stone sacred figurine. I also attaching to the door of power because I recall that was also related to the rooftop garden. So I'm saying that the door of power, the rooftop garden is kind of the link to the door of power.
I mean,
Since
you
I don't
didn't
remember very
find
well.
that on the rooftop garden or
Oh,
anything,
okay.
but I mean that doesn't mean that you couldn't connect it to the
Okay.
door of power. But
So I think Jin saying I won't tell anyone I swear it is to the Harbinger because that's who she was talking to and who was binding her magically behind that vow.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
mm-hmm.
Um,
And hmm.
Manananggal salt connected to murder victims. Um,
I mean, it kind of an indirect way of murdering someone.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, but by having them bash against your shields. But yeah,
Or
Yeah.
potentially, what if that's that could
what they were
even be
trying
like motive?
motive?
Like
Yeah,
maybe
trying
that's
to
why
make
they're being
salt.
killed is to make the salt. Maybe.
Yeah.
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 And I'll connect the um, dagger with the blade to them as well.
Yeah, we'll say that. Yeah, this time, yeah, that was
Yeah.
maybe it was used somewhere in the ritual, even if they were mostly torn apart, they were still using that perpetually sharp blade. Okay, I can buy
Graffiti
that.
is a symptom of the decline rather than a cause. It's people um, in decline turning to uh, self turning on themselves
Mm-hmm.
as their influence wanes. Um,
Mhm.
And
uh,
I wonder if maybe the mirror in the apartment also is connected to the decline because, like,
sure.
maybe it gained power because of their decline. It's
Kind of like an
Power's got to
energy
go somewhere.
vampire sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. The lines
Mm-hmm.
are drawn.
Okay, so what's the new theory of who it is though?
We could.
Ah,
I mean,
I mean, who's left?
Who's left that we have met?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
yeah.
Well, remember too that part of your original theory was if the mirror was so connected and the handprints meant that it must have been a Manananggal that looked at it, that meant it must be a Manananggal doing it. You don't necessarily have to hold that as still true either.
Yeah.
How do we count that for that then?
I don't know. I
Uh
mean,
yeah, just like what makes me makes some sense.
I mean, if we're gonna go with a Manananggal, another Manananggal, we've only really met one other.
well, I was
And
gonna, yeah, like, is it Letitia, the community leader, who is bitterly resentful at the
At
division
the
being brought
decline.
in and thought that the community should manage it themselves?
Its own fairs.
Could
I
it
Yes.
mean, yeah,
be
that
Sister
makes sense.
Dax, who is the supposed representative of the Sisters of the Broken Crucifix, but only brought in when the mystery was deepening and not seeming to
Yeah.
help so far? Or who could it, I mean,
Yeah, we're down to three possibilities. Sister Teresa would be a very
Yeah.
bizarre
Sister
possibility.
Teresa,
I
if
mean,
it
you
was
could
something,
potentially imagine, like, it doesn't
I mean,
necessarily
considering our
actually
first,
have to be someone that you met already, right? Like, we could invent a
yeah,
character that it is. It doesn't have to be an NPC that we introduced on
I mean,
screen.
add a character maybe that's just the way I was just reading the way
Mhm.
our character feels like a male Manananggal from the way you were describing those scenes that we're not seeing.
Mhm.
But
Well, I feel I was not intending that per se.
no,
Like, but yeah,
that's just me misreading it
sure,
that way.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that reading. I'm just trying to,
Yeah, yeah,
like I
no,
wasn't,
but it's totally my brain and not.
but yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to clarify here is that you don't necessarily have to only choose from the NPCs we saw on screen. We could, if you have
Yeah.
a theory for what kind of character might do it, we could sort of say it's someone that you did not ever actually encounter, but you're able to put together the rest of it enough that you can track them down and stop them from whatever they're doing, even if you don't know who they are. Right? Like that's an allowable interpretation
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Uh, the other person that was mentioned that we did not speak to, I believe, was janitor.
Well, there was two other characters that you didn't talk to. Which one was the janitor who was good friends with Jin, and
Right.
then another was Mickey Yap, who was friends with another one of the victims as well. Like
Is this the case?
yeah.
The janitor
I
did
mean,
it?
my I kind of a point with the janitor is like, if anyone would have the ability to get a get in some place and make it look like they weren't there, a janitor would be perfect. Like they would have keys to every door.
You mean like apartments that are supposed to be closed?
Yeah.
The other
And
thing that I'll say, I don't mean to cut off that line of reasoning, but it's like you don't even like because you're spitballing a theory here. You don't even necessarily have to eliminate Franklin just because he seemingly got eaten, right? Like if you had a theory for how it was still him, you could do that too. I'm trying to
And
just
that
make
his
sure
spirit is still
the
doing
possibility
things?
space is wide
Okay.
open here. Is just that's all I'm trying to say.
And
hmm,
But yes, you were aware of two other people that were close to the murder victims, and that was Georgie the janitor and Mickey Yap, who was close to one of the other victims.
yeah.
I still feel like a
Right.
Mononagal makes the most sense. So because
Yeah.
of the handprints we found. Otherwise, we have to really distort things to explain that.
Hmm.
Hmm,
I mean, we can distort things. I mean, it's not a
yeah.
deal breaker, but it feels
And
natural that it's one of the community that's doing this to me.
yeah,
All right.
or has been influenced to do it.
Or has been influenced with it. That's true. I mean, okay, is it Franklin now from behind the grave? Beyond the grave?
Uh,
You know, like
unless he was putting on a really, really
Yeah.
good act,
mm,
he didn't have the intellect for it.
okay. So
Yeah.
you would know. You got to eat. You got to taste them, so you know his taste.
So
A janitor does have access to places and and things that people don't notice,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it's
Yeah. and
Well, so one other thing I'll mention, and this was I think brought up, if only briefly, is that Georgie the janitor is actually a duende, so also an Aswang, like also a monster, but not
but a
not a
different monster.
Manananggal.
Okay.
I mean,
But he's been manipulating Mononagal.
could have been.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's a theory.
I mean, the Duende aren't doing so great either. But the Mononagal are the dominant population in this building, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, cat's paws? What do we think?
Sure. I mean, why
Well,
not?
let's try it, and if we're wrong, we get to fight it.
Yeah.
I think that's
Oh.
basically how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
We're right, or we
are
We
so
fight or we
wrong.
fight.
are so wrong that we wind up fighting whatever it really is. And the
Yeah.
GM is going to come up with it.
Mhm.
The moral is don't miss the roll, whoever's making this roll.
Well, John drew the line, so
I rolled the dice last time, didn't I? No, I didn't.
I
no,
did.
that was
No.
David.
Yeah.
No, that was I
David
rolled
did.
the 3. David rolled the 2.
Yeah.
So do.
You roll it, Mildred.
All right, I'll roll it. I only hope that
Mhm.
different person, different
I think that
result.
checks out, right?
I think that's
Alright.
solid logic.
It's not just a random number generator.
Unlock Doom Store.
Mhm.
All right.
And
So we've got.
plus
So
1.
it's
Plus
still
1.
+1.
Yeah.
So plus 1.
No other bonuses or penalties.
No,
No.
it's
All right.
mm.
3, 2, 1, roll.
Hey!
You know, it's funny. You all because my roll 20 is acting slow right now. I get to hear all of you react to it before it shows up on my screen. That's kind of funny.
10.
Yeah.
Perfect hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect hit. So, with Unlock Doom's Door, if I can pull this back up. On an 8 to 10, you have tracked down Doom's Door. You know exactly where it is and how to unlock it. In addition, the Keeper will present an opportunity to protect what matters most, take down the Harbinger, or otherwise drive back the apocalypse. And so, let's talk about your theory here, which is that you believe that the janitor, who is best friends with Jin, enforced a magical promise not to tell what he was doing, has been working to open a door of power that involves the placement of these defaced figurines in where there were once organs, and then somehow tying into this infestation of insects. Used various artifacts such as the dagger, um, and Manananggal salt, related to the murder victims, and this is all tied into. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm talking through my own process of kind of how
Yeah.
this actually plays out. So what is the move here? Then you're all running down to the basement, or like the
Well, we wanted to go where the ritual
the-
is being held.
yeah, whether
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
stop the
Um,
ritual in progress.
right.
Right.
So
And since the door of
is
power is associated with the rooftop garden, I say we would go there.
We
Um. So because of that's where you found the insects. You mean?
yeah,
yeah,
Sure.
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
and the dagger. We found a
yeah.
couple of keys there.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah. So I think then you you make your way to the rooftop garden, and the rain is continuing to pour down, but now the lightning and thunder feels almost constant. And as you look past the rooftop garden's sort of main tent, you can see now that there's sort of a second partitioned off aspect of it that was easy to mistake for just storage of some kind, but you see
Mhm.
lightning flashing, illuminating behind it silhouettes of a strange art, idol statue of some kind in that part of the rooftop garden, and you hear chanting voices.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's go
let's
rain
go.
on someone's parade.
Charge in.
Yes.
All right. Uh,
Because stopping a ritual usually means stop who's ever doing the chanting.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I think what happens here is, well, first of all, just for fun, I'll go ahead and reveal the artwork of this character. which is just kind of funny in this context because mostly what I'm going to be describing is someone who's not really very much like that. Because it's a nice looking guy in the artwork here. Because you know, as written, he might have been a perfectly they might have been a perfectly nice person. Wow, I don't know. My Roll20 is just chunking a lot.
Oh,
There we
Georgie.
go.
Sorry, Georgie.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
You're
there's
George.
evil. You're
Well,
actually
there's also
evil.
a difference between, like, particularly in the looks mostly human, but does something and they're
mm-hmm.
not human anymore. The
Yeah. Well, and
monstrous and non-monstrous
Pandorum.
looks.
well, and so what you see now is there are a couple of Manananggal in their form of just just the upper half and the wings extended, but looking like maddened and monstrous in the way that the ones that attacked the karaoke night party did. And you see that there's an altar of sorts sitting in front of this strange idol. In fact, there's a piece of artwork that I think could be a fun backdrop for our. So not the one that's showing right now, but I'll change it in a second. And you know what? It's easier when I don't actually have to go and like manipulate it very much. It's fine for it to just be a backdrop. But um, there's this idol made of what looks like body parts and flesh and covered with blood, but shaped to resemble a bunch of like wings and other limbs arranged. And you can see on an altar in front of you see the background now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so in front of this statue is an altar where you see the upper half of Emily Santos. Um, Her hands are bound, but she's laying there looking kind of like dazed, like she's not quite all there at the moment. But she is lying on the art the this altar, and you see uh, Georgie as shown in that artwork, but also now instead of dressed in a nice little coverall tracksuit sort of looking thing, they have draped themselves with all of these black veils, and you see that their body has changed to the point where they have eyes and mouths and wings and other constantly shifting sort of features crawling all over their body, and they look to all of you and and say, "None of this concerns you. Just leave now, and I'll finish this."
Emily concerns us, and Pandorum is going to rush in.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like,
Well, particularly now that I have a "Do Harbingers Dream of Monsters Like Me" as one of my moves for
Mm-hmm.
my playbook. Oh, he's going to taste. He's going to be tasty.
Okay. So I think what's happening immediately as you start to rush in is that he's got two of these sort of crazed looking Manananggal that are poised and ready to defend him. And he looks like he's going to try to keep doing this ritual if he can. So Pandorum was rushing in first. What are you doing?
I'm going to go straight for Emily and try and get her out of there.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm sure the other Monongongo will try and stop me, but it seems like when they converge to try and attack, oddly enough, they seem to move right through him.
Well, you're that's certainly what you're going to try. Let's see a roll and find out how well it works.
Okay. And that would be the Unleash the Dark, or
Yep.
okay. So let's see. Ah,
Aha. Okay, a 9, a perfect hit. So you are able to choose 2 from that list. I would imagine that one of them at least is uh, get what you want from them. I think is probably you're trying to get Emily to safety is what you're hoping
yes,
for.
yes.
Okay, so able to
And
like pull
avoid,
her off of the altar.
yep, and avoid reprisals, harm, or costs.
Okay, so
And
do you start just by pulling her off the altar? Is that I think I don't think you can get her all the way to some other location, but you can certainly pull her out of where they seem to have been setting
yeah,
her up for this ritual.
definitely, definitely off the altar and like to the opposite side of the area, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're moving her away. You manage to phase through the Manananggal to start and pull her away. But at this point, Georgie looking at you with fury. You're now that you have interrupted the ritual he was trying to do, he's not any longer busy with that. And
Yep.
so he looks like he is about to come after you, but someone else can take the opportunity to do something.
I think Lady
I'm
Dana.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
well,
Lady Dana
hold
wanted
on,
to
hold
first.
on.
Oh no,
I
John
gotta move.
Deere.
Okay.
I gotta move that if you guys go off and do stuff, I can't do my move. So
Okay.
I'm gonna use my new move, Soul Like a Steel Trap. And I'm gonna spend 3 darkness tokens. Um, your cold analytical skills help you devise the perfect plan. So, oh, disastrous success.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
I asked
okay.
one from the beginning. How could we, what weakness do I perceive? That's the question I'm going to
Okay.
ask. But I also get a harrowing realization, and you need to ask me a difficult question. I'm not sure
Okay.
how that works.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that the weakness that you perceive
Mhm.
is that his body seems in flux, right? Like it's in an in between state, constantly shifting. It was probable that this ritual was designed to solidify him into some other form, but
Right.
because he's in between right now, that leaves him vulnerable physically.
Okay. All
However,
right.
the harrowing realization that you have is all of a sudden all of the script you saw under on the walls under the wallpaper before, you see those trailing out from his feet, and it looks as though he is somehow magically connected to the whole building.
Oh crap.
Mm,
He is
Okay.
drawing power from the building, but you think his physical form is currently vulnerable.
Okay, okay, so I will instruct everyone to stick to material attacks. He's got too much magical power
Mhm.
to assault, and that I'm going to take 4 darkness tokens for asking someone to follow my
Okay.
instructions.
Well, so I also realized, so it says a harrowing realization about the situation, which I just gave you, but the keeper will ask you a difficult question that you must answer.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Um, uh, the phrasing of that is weird. I think in some ways it might have been designed that instead of me telling you that about the building, it
Right.
I should have asked you to supply that. You know what I mean? I think that might be what it means about the
I
difficult question. So
I don't.
I guess here's the harrowing question. The difficult question that you must answer
ooh,
is
I got-
if You think it may be possible that if he's got a connection to the building, that hurting him might hurt the building. And you'll
Mhm.
have to decide
Right.
how to proceed if it's possible that killing him could
Okay.
bring the building down.
All right. All right. I am going to say, I'm altering the plan that I'm giving.
Okay.
Um, Lady Dana, keep him busy. Ningle and mm, um, the other one,
Pandora.
uh, uh, guard the uh, uh, guard me from his minions. Um, I'm going to try something else, and I'm going to try to cut him off from his power.
Okay.
So,
Um,
um,
Another point is like my reshape by despair move. When you choose to unleash the dark, describe how your form changes.
Okay.
And basically, when it looks like he is, Emily's removed, he's not busy anymore. He sees Pandorum, but Pandorum's eyes are just voids, and Pandorum's mouth is um, is also a void that, and I see your soul, and it is nothing.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's creepy.
I think
Into their
he's
soul and
he's
declare what I
scowling
find
down
there.
at you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I see into their soul and declare what I find there.
Okay. All right. So I think he scowls down at you and says, "Hey man, you don't even go here." Um, but the so okay. So we've got John Deere's realization. We've got Pandorum's pronouncement, but nonetheless, Georgie does seem to be directing the Manananggal under his control, and his own efforts are he's moving in towards Pandorum. They're about to attack him, but who else? What else is?
I believe Lady Dana wanted to go
Yeah,
next.
I'm going. Um, all right. Then, do harbingers dream of monsters like me? You have acquired a taste of power that only a harbinger can wield. Under your skin, carved into your bone, burrowing into your flesh is what remains of harbingers you have consumed.
Mhm.
So basically, it's taking on a 8 to 10. I ripple, I take on the power and in perfect harmony, and I
Well,
change and can
well,
inflict
we'll we'll
conditions.
we'll look at
That's
the.
my
Oh,
aim.
okay. So when you tear away at your skin to reveal what remains of a
Remains.
slumbering harbinger.
Um, so I'm looking at something of elemental strength and fury.
Okay.
Um,
Well, so
probably,
don't
yeah,
choose the outcomes when you haven't rolled yet.
right. Well,
But
it's like that's what I'm aiming for. So I'm
okay,
just
well,
going to
I
beat the
right.
right,
shit
Okay.
out of them.
sure,
I think it's
sure.
time to roll the dice.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I'm
have to
going to
roll.
do 2 tokens. 9. Yes.
Okay, perfect hit. So on an 8 to 10, your body ripples in
Um,
perfect sync, and so you choose.
I'm choosing a harbinger of elemental strength and fury. Immediately inflict 2 conditions on the target, but take one in your return.
Okay,
And
so go ahead.
for the one I'm going to take, I'm going to go with raging because, yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, so what I'll tell you right now is that there's the two crazed Manananggal, and there is Georgie. But
Mm,
bear in mind what John has just told you. Where do you apply these two conditions that you're able to inflict?
Um, so both of the Mononongal under his control are going after Pandorum, or just
All
one?
three of them are right
Okay.
now because
Okay.
he pulled Emily off the altar.
All right. So I'm
God.
Oh, since I don't want Pandorum or Emily hit,
Hmm.
I'm going to boot to actually I'm going to do one each on the Manananggal to try to stop them
Right. Okay.
so that like kind of my next hit I can concentrate on.
Yeah. Well, so go ahead and describe what you look like as you transform in this way,
All
and
right.
then describe how you take both of these Mononongal out.
Okay.
All right. So um actually, so my hair is going to start doing the coming out thing that it normally does when I go to attack,
Hmm.
but this time instead of being like it's usually slightly wet, it's going to crackle with
Mm.
lightning
Ooh,
Shocking.
and basically it's I'm going to wrap around the two Manananggal and tase them.
nice. And this is pairing with, and so the lightning that's been striking in this incredibly intense thunderstorm going on all around you, I think for a moment actually connects with the lightning that you are doing. And so the lightning coming out from you looks like it goes all the way up into the sky
Yeah.
because it is.
And basically and get it like like electrocuted or incapacitated on
Hmm.
both of them so that
Yeah.
I'm putting myself in the process putting myself in between.
Hmm. Well, and this tasing that you imagine, so like, are you this is like an incapacitating, or are you like
Yes, I am
frying them?
looking to
Okay.
incapacitate because well one of my impulses offering kindness at a cost to my great cost to myself,
Hmm.
and so I'm opening myself up to the attack that's probably going to be coming.
Hmm.
um but these guys are obviously under someone else's control,
Right.
so I'm only going to incapacitate them because they're not it's like it's not their fault.
Right.
um but also in the process I'm going to put myself in between kind of as a kindness to Pandorum who is much squishier and Emily who's like knocked out.
Right. Uh,
So like this is not so much heroic sacrifice as it is um I'm going to give them time but not hurt the people who don't deserve it.
sure. So you have successfully uh, zapped the two Manananggal, and they sort of fall to the roof flooring. You know the
Oh,
roof, the ground on the roof.
Yeah.
You know what? Like everyone
Yeah.
It's
knows what
called
I
the
mean,
roof.
right?
fall
Yes,
in
When
the
they,
yes.
roof. Right.
they fall to
Anyway, they fall
fell
to
to
the
the roof.
roof and kind of flop around uncontrollably because they're reacting to the electricity, but they lay limp but breathing when the lightning pulls away. However, Georgie has stalked toward where David has Emily held, and you see him reaching down as though his arm is going to extend into the roof. And you watch as though parts of the roof look like they are rising like jaws to chomp on Pandorum and Emily.
No, no, no. He
No,
thinks
no,
this is
no.
my thing.
Well, well,
Um,
so
No,
Ningle
no,
but
has not acted yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
let the next person.
okay. So, the best way to deal with a wizard is to attack the wizard physically directly. So, if he's going to try to make Jaws to eat Pandora, the obvious thing to do is actually to go slither, fly forward, and well, he apparently likes to rip Mononago limb from limb. So I'm going to see how he likes it when he gets that from me. So I'm not even going to conjure any weapons. I'm just going to use my good old colossal strength to make him feel what he's done to the population here. So that's unleashing the dark. I am anger and violence. So I get 3 darkness tokens right away.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got a ton of darkness tokens I better spend, otherwise I'm gonna be in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's yeah, because I'm at 7 now. I
Yeah.
better spend I better spend a couple here, otherwise
Mhm.
things could go wrong.
Well, so yeah, if you ever finish your move and have 5 or more, then you do the torn between
Yeah, so
move. Yeah.
right, I'm gonna spend 3 and yeah,
Gain 3,
use my
spend
colossal
3.
strength. What's that?
Gain 3, spend 3.
Mhm.
Exactly.
All
Ah,
right, 8, perfect hit.
Perfect hit.
You guys are rolling great. So you wield the
For
darkness
once.
with control and ease. You choose 2 of those things.
Okay, so I'm gonna get past the defenses and gonna inflict a condition,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna avoid reprisals, harm, or gain the upper hand for now. Because I'm willing
Okay.
to I'm willing to take the punch. I'm the tank here. I'm gaining the upper hand for now, so that will keep him off balance from what he's doing, so that John has a chance to do what he needs to do. So
Okay. So I think so. Just describe the attack that you make here.
I go flying, slithering towards him, grab him, and start trying to remove arm from shoulder joint. And I
Okay.
probably at least sprain his shoulder, if not dislocate it in the process.
I think you find he comes apart way more easily than you expected.
Yeah, because
I don't imagine that you are dismayed or shocked by this as much as is like, oh, nice.
nice.
But what you do recognize as you tear him apart that it feels like the pieces you're pulling off are not, while you
Essential
have broken
ones.
the
Yeah.
physical disconnect, the physical connection, you're not getting the sense that this is inherently killing him. There is
No.
something maintaining this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, what you have done in gaining the upper hand, you've certainly inflicted a condition, and that condition is frustrated. You have basically torn many pieces off of him and like tossed them aside. But as you watch, the remains of him sort of slurps out of your grip, and you see the pieces starting to like crawl and move, like slime back to each other, like the T1000 after it got broken by
Well,
the
he's not allowed to do
liquid
that.
nitrogen.
All
And
right.
so he's in the process of sort of reforming himself here, but it's going to take him a second to do that for sure.
All right. I'm going to use power through darkness.
Okay.
I am using my soul magic to create a barrier. Basically, it's everything he's done so far has been like these intricate machines with moving parts and controls and stuff like this. Is a column of white soul magic that, as if it's being pushed down by a piston and spreads out in the process, creates this knife blade of white power between him and the building, just severing his connection to it.
Okay.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
All right.
Yeah, I figure that's big enough because I'm.
Oh yeah, no, I
what-
love it.
yeah.
This is great. This is a perfect use of the move. Let's so you've pushed the limits of your supernatural powers, straining to do the extraordinary or avert imminent danger. Spend darkness
Yes.
tokens and roll.
Perfect hit.
Very nice. You use your powers.
I'm just waiting for it to now start going bad.
Well,
But
Stop! Hey!
yeah. Here's the good news.
Yeah.
Here's the additional good news on top of the fact that that hit went well, which is this perfect hit ends the fight basically.
Okay.
As soon as you watch as his parts are starting to reform, and you hear his voice starting to come together as though it's being spoken by several different mouths, and I think in the background, Myron is kind of just doing, dude, I've been doing, this is my thing. Oh,
Poor
fighting my
Myron.
style, man. Anyway, but Georgie is kind of coming back together, and he just says, "It's like you outsiders have no idea what you're doing. I have historic beef with these Manananggal. You don't know what you're dealing with. This is something I have been preparing for decades. I have made all the preparations needed to." And then you watch as this sort of sheet of white energy sort of has emerged underneath him, almost like it's a flooding grate, like he's standing on a grate that's now flooding out, but it has severed him from his connection to the building. And you watch as he's just like looking down. It's like, you guys suck. And then he kind of just flops over and just kind of starts to just kind of turn to mush. And the
Yeah.
building trembles a little bit, just like a little bit of a tremor. But then it stabilizes. And as you watch, this strange statue above the altar also dissolves into mush, like he
Yeah.
did.
We need a janitor.
And you hear over there by Pandorum, Emily kind of blinks, and she's kind of focused again, and she's just like, "Holy shit, you guys, get me untied! What the fuck?"
Pandorum's gonna untie her and say, "Your friend has been avenged."
Uh, she's kind of just looks a little bit like overwhelmed at first, but then she just hugs you.
Aw.
I,
Yeah.
I would imagine it feels a little bit weird just because like she is like she's got big wings, but she's kind of just hanging on you, but she doesn't have
Oh yeah.
anything below the waist right now, so it's just kind of
Honestly, Pandorum just likes a hug too much to
sure.
care.
Oh sure, yeah.
Aw.
So I think that there is uh, the rain is quickly washing away whatever remained of Georgie in this idol. You can now see the two Manananggal that had been serving him kind of slowly starting to recover, and they're holding their heads like they have a powerful headache.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Better headache than dead.
Mm-hmm.
Better headache
Yeah.
than dead. For sure.
Yeah.
Might want to
And
go
then
back to your bodies.
yes, and I think Sister Teresa and Sister Dax are assisting with that as well, and helping them get back to where they need to be. Letitia, um, I think as you're kind of starting this process, making sure they're okay. Ningle, you see Letitia standing from like the roof entrance, like she hasn't stepped out like to where it's raining, but she looks at you and gives kind of just like a head toss, like you're supposed to come with her.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to talk to her anyway.
Hmm. So she kind of pulls you along while everyone else is kind of doing other things we can talk about in a moment, but um, she, I think, just has you in the stairwell and just says, "I feel as though I didn't want you all here, and I know that you were here trying to help, and I think It's impossible to know how this would have gone if you hadn't been here. I think he did accelerate his plans as the result of your investigation, and maybe we could have stopped him in some other way. But
Maybe.
nonetheless, it's obvious now. He had always claimed Jin as his best friend, and the two of them loudly proclaimed the irony that they had once been mortal enemies and had put that behind them. I can't help but be saddened to realize that for Georgie, that was perhaps some kind of ruse.
Oh, it's definitely a ruse, I say grimly. Most definitely. He was a deceiver, a trickster, and a manipulator. A fair face for the devil.
And I, nonetheless, cannot help but admire Jin's willingness to have that be sincere, even if it may have cost him his life. Because the truth is, as much as we Manananggal have achieved great things in our history, we cannot exist in isolation anymore, not in this world. It is too full, and too full of too many different kinds of people. We need to be able to coexist, and perhaps that means being willing to accept outside help sometimes, even when that help barges its way in and proceeds to trample all over the community's traditions.
With the serpent's body and giant wings, for example.
She does give you a little bit of a look like, oh, I remember.
Members.
So
Things are going faster in the world as well. Another harbinger. The world is moving towards a crisis point.
I
That
just
crisis. Go ahead.
I just can't help but I don't know how to tell my people here that we need to be able to trust one another when such a profound example of that trust being betrayed has been presented to us all.
The betrayal of trust is a deadly poison that is hard to recover from. I've always trusted you, even if you've felt I've not contacted you in the last 80 years. I've still always trusted you. And when I heard that we're going to Manila, my first thought was of you.
I laughed a little bit there, not in character, just because I'm imagining it's kind of like, trust me, even though I never called, I meant to lots of
Oh,
times.
no. Might have a little bit of toxic masculinity.
I know. I'm teasing, but
He's not been a perfect person here.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to give you a hard time. I just thought it was funny. But yes, I so you know, I think though perhaps the way to frame it is that even though someone we thought we could trust betrayed us here, some people we thought that we couldn't trust protected us.
Strangers, even. Strangers from far away.
Yes, you know, some of those folks you brought with you are very weird.
It's in 3,000 years, I have seen few like them. Speaking of 3,000 years, Letitia, if the time is, if the stars are right, as a certain writer once said, if the stars do finally align, I'm going to ask you, can you help? Would you help me? I don't know if the stars are going to align for me, but things are changing. Harbingers are emerging. The
Hmm.
stars may be aligned, my aligning, or maybe not. I don't
Yeah.
know. It has
So
been a long time.
I like this. I like this. You don't have any, so like your old playbook absolutely had moves for this kind
What?
of thing, right?
Right. It
But
did it right. That the old playbook had moves for this sort of thing. I'm
so
I'm I'm, I'm actually going for the prophecy that haunts me and the whole whatchamacallit,
mhm.
what does the dark embrace, what does darkness demand of me, embracing
Well,
strength, my
because
prophecy, and also my whatchamacallit, my other thing for this thing is to entangle another monster in my prophecy.
sure.
So
So
I'm kind of
well,
go for all those.
so I guess what I'm saying though is that like narratively you're doing all of that. There's
Right.
not a specific move that you're doing per se,
No,
right?
no, just yeah, no,
Right.
just
Yeah.
just to check that box about.
Let's have you do a reveal your heart
Yeah,
move.
that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I am
Yeah.
revealing my heart
Oh
to
yeah,
her.
for sure.
Yeah, that okay. Where is my,
I was
oh
just
my.
trying to make sure there wasn't some other move that would be better
No,
fit.
no, not from this playbook. From the older playbook, definitely.
Yeah.
But this one, okay. So let's spend a couple of darkness. Oh, let's spend a couple of darkness tokens because he does want to give this a shot, a real shot. All right. I missed. Okay, I can spend a bond to make that hit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spend a bond with the darkness because it feels really obvious here.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a bond with the darkness to make that a perfect hit.
Okay. So see here's me trying to change the background in at the same time that you do that, and it moving so slow that it just disrupts everything. So, but yes, by changing it to a perfect hit, your heart reaches theirs. You can choose one of those
A
options.
bond.
You spent a bond. You could certainly gain a new bond to
I think
replace it.
clearing the condition. I think the talkiness has calmed me down. So I think
Okay.
clearing the condition is the most logical one out of
Hmm.
these.
I think what I will say, like I have no objection to that. I will say mechanically, you are going to basically clear all conditions as a part
Oh,
of
that's right.
like
You're right.
finishing the mystery before you start the new one.
You're
So you
right.
could choose
Let, let,
to
let, let's let, yeah, let's go with taught me something important.
okay. So
She's
that would you would
wise.
mark XP,
Yeah,
and
she's
so
definitely
I
wise.
think that reflecting that result narratively, she looks at you and just says, "You know, I was never a big fan of your whole prophecy thing, but there's been a lot lately, and I don't just mean today, that has me thinking that perhaps some of what I once thought could be taken out, dusted, and re examined." I can't guarantee you what my support will look like, but I do hope that you will call on me.
I whisper that the guy just because this feels better. It's better. I shall. As if I'm afraid to actually say that out loud, but it's like just throwing that into the air. I shall.
And I think that that moment, the silence hangs in the air for a moment, and you see kind of a couple of different expressions pass over her face, and then she just kind of straightens up and says, "Would you like to come back to my room?"
Yes.
And yes, and then we will cut back up to the roof, where I think that the storm has actually started to pass. The rain has slowed, and the clouds are starting to clear a little bit, and you're all kind of doing the cleanup. And I think that there are surprisingly little remains of any kind left. The rain before it went seemed to just wash away the residue of that statue and of Georgie himself, leaving almost nothing behind to give you any indication that any of that happened. That's not to say none. There is still a strange altar there, and then, of course, everyone remembers what happened. The Manananggal who had been working with him had told stories of being promised a return to glory, but that every time they had been brought, they would bring him the things that he needed for his rituals that were supposed to give them power. They ended up losing time as a result, and they remember something about being brought to a mirror.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just seems as though they are they very much seem as though they are awakened now from a sort of trance. None of them seem to have any lingering feelings of anger or bitterness towards you for stopping them, rather the opposite. And although now this community still has some losses to mourn and some emotional wounds to heal, they can do so now within the safety of this community that they've built for themselves here, and that has once again been made safe thanks to your intervention.
Your hope, your future is unwritten. You will, if you choose to have it be better than your past, then you have the power to do so.
All right. So I think Sister Teresa kind of comes up to all of you and says, "So I'm sure that all of you have to be getting back to division, but the karaoke night kind of got interrupted. I don't know if you all want to hang out for a little bit and
Let's have a little fun and get a little sleep and such before we have to get back, however we're getting back."
I actually believe the helicopter's not. I won't be coming until morning at the very earliest.
So I think I will offer that we can close our session tonight. Let's have everyone give just a very brief vignette of what their character is doing at the karaoke party.
Not present at the karaoke party, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm thinking someone else go.
Yeah, I'm thinking too.
Pandorum, Pandorum winds up seeing several different renditions of different songs, but each one is in a different, very old language. And even though, anyone that might understand them would realize that the meaning is almost unchanged, and and it actually sounds decent, rhythm wise.
Rock the Sandman and Old Elamite.
Um, uh, John is doing "The Show Must Go On" by Queen on the karaoke.
Um, honestly, so I think I might just be sitting in a corner. Like I know I'm like let's just kind of have some fun, but I'm sitting in a corner with a drink and kind of being quiet because that whole myself in the mirror, I'm still trying to process that.
Hmm.
And because it's like kind of the facing part of this is definitely facing like what I would do if I had no restrictions
Mm-hmm.
and if I was giving in. So it's kind of like, but thinking about that, but also like watching something kind of normal helping to settle me.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. There is an actual move in this game called Torn Between. When you are torn
Okay.
between your monstrous nature and your human heart, or when you are tempted by what the darkness demands of you. So does this seem like a time you would want to make that move?
Yeah, I think so because
Yeah.
this is definitely
So
one
the
of those.
Yeah, so the choices here, and you don't have to make
Mhm.
this move, it's just an offer, but to
Yeah.
either let your monstrous nature show and describe the damage your outburst causes in Mark 1 Ruin, or describe how you diminish your power and conform to the pressures of humanity, lose all darkness tokens, or you can spend a bond with someone and describe how they directly or inadvertently help you regain control.
Um, actually, I think when John's done with his song, I'm going to like offer him a drink and um because oh wait, this is spend a bond, not gaining a bond.
Yeah, yeah.
But well, I still think it might be John, one of my bonds with John of just like
Okay.
um going back up to where my bonds are. Um
I was just, playing with my fingers and realized I was on, for a second doing the little anime
yeah.
finger thing.
Yeah, it be just kind of more along the lines of, well, John had asked me about like kind of what books I would like, and it's like seeing him kind
Mhm.
of engaged in this
And I mean,
fairly normal thing is
and
like,
John is just like pouring his entire heart into this song.
yeah, and it's like this is
And
kind
I'm
of
actually going to do a reveal your heart move
Oh yay!
with Lady
oh
Danny
okay,
on
Nice.
this.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we
So
can
it
we
was
can pair those things in this moment if that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it was seeing this.
Maybe that's much.
Well, John is bad at
So
the
he's just
emotion
away,
thing.
yeah, just like off
I,
tune, and
I,
just it sounds terrible.
I have,
And
I have another idea of something I could interrupt it.
mm,
Someone goes up to Lady Dana and offers her a something made with durian.
Oh,
Oh.
that's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
even
like
her hunger can't
It's not
overcome
bad,
that.
announcements
but
like,
it's durian.
"Hey everyone, I think we if anyone's eaten any of the durian, we think it was actually bad, unfortunately."
How can you tell?
Oh, wrong. but okay, I think the seeing John kind of being bad with his emotions and such does like, and with the singing thing kind of makes me like, reminds me of when he was asking me about what books I would like and such. Like, I don't want the hunger to take that away, and that's what helps me calm
Nice.
down.
Very nice. For context, Nobilis, what we discovered last week is apparently
Durian
durian
can
that
go
is
rotten.
spoiled
Okay.
is what causes Lady Dana food poisoning.
Oh, okay. I get it.
All
All right, that would.
Yeah. Anyway, though, that was lovely. Did we get everyone? Is there anyone who is still wanted to do their?
Some kind of.
Yeah, I think we
We
said
got
everyone,
everyone.
right? So, I think Myron is just partying.
Yeah.
I was almost going to imagine that like he might have interrupted by just like so what are we talking about and just sort of slurping himself over both of your shoulders in the middle of your conversation. Um, but in any case, I think that's where we will sort of fade to black for our session tonight, and that is the Manananggal
Dun,
murders.
dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yay, the
Yes.
murders are done.
Yay. And so I think next time we can maybe finish a little bit early tonight, but next time we might do some downtime at Division, but then we can start looking into our next mystery.
Yeah, we do need to do our end of session moves.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about end of session moves. Um, you know what? I'm going to briefly reset my Roll20 just because maybe that will make some difference in terms of why it's going so slow. But rather than if
I can
anyone
read
wants
out
to read their own while I'm doing
Yeah.
that.
So, if I may start,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
did you express your monstrous nature and/or express your humanity? I think the karaoke absolutely counts.
Ha! Yeah.
Did you learn something significant about yourself and/or your impending ruin? No. Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster? I learned that Lady Dana is really
Fundamentally
conflicted,
coward.
and evidently has a weakness. Uh, and did you uncover at least a key of the apocalypse or attempt to unlock Doom's door? We did kind of collectively, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, everyone does the Unlock Doom store together. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't mark ruin. So. And
although
my
everyone
impulse.
marked ruin for earlier for getting the
Yeah.
first guest room.
Yeah.
And did you find something or someone worth living for? I'm not going to mark that.
Mm.
Didn't do a lot this session.
Yeah.
So for mine, my impulse was, did you allow yourself to find hope in the arms of another monster? I think yes.
You did. You
And-
got
You
got
did.
hugged by Emily, who is
Emily,
very
yes, I
sweet.
think
little-
that definitely counts.
sweet lady.
Yeah. And did you express your monstrous nature and or express your humanity? I think void eyes and seeing into someone's soul is definitely monstrous.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think I learned anything significant about myself or my
Well,
opinion.
I'll also actually say that expressing your humanity means rushing into danger to prioritize absolutely first saving the innocent.
Save the girl.
victim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
mean-
learn something significant about a fellow monster? I think I learned about another tool in Lady Dana's toolbox, which I did not
Yep.
expect.
Because it's a new one.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I think everybody else learned. Yeah. Yeah. The phase shifting, that's not something that any of you had seen before. So,
New power
Yeah.
of darkness.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really describe that super in detail. You kind of said it, but yeah, phasing
Yeah.
right through those initial attacks. Great. All right, who wants to go next?
Okay, I'll go. So did I express my monstrous nature or express my humanity? I think I expressed my humanity. and my monstrous nature, depending on how you want to take a look at it, both to Letitia. Did I learn something specific about myself when we were pending ruin? Maybe not. I'm not quite sure about my impending ruin. Did I learn something about a fellow monster? Yes, Lady Dana. Did I cover did I lock Doom's door? Yes, and I did hit my theme of whatchamacallit?
Adding someone to your cult.
Right, my cult as it were, yes. So yes, so I have that one as well. So that's me, I believe. I think that's all the other questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So did I offer kindness at great cost to myself? Yeah, I literally put myself in the middle of everything and knocked
Mm.
out the Manananggal instead of killing them. Did I express my monstrous nature? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, learned significant about myself or my impending ruin. Um, this was more the reflection about myself. Like last session is where the whole mirror episode happened, but now I've had a little bit more time to reflect on it and decide that I don't want to do that yet.
Hmm.
Um, that I learned something insignificant about another fellow monster. Yeah, the dark eyes and phasing thing is new.
Yeah.
Um, and we did the key together. Um, I hit enough ruin to take a ruin advance, and I'm going to choose the story of you carved onto my flesh. So basically, this is in an intimate moment with a PC, I can ask to feed on their harbinger.
Ooh.
Ooh, wow, that's dark.
Um,
Hmm.
and it then like, but it's also how I can heal
Mm-hmm.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
that's the is that the one that lets you transfer ruin?
no, well, no, this one is um I can clear a condition and gain a bond with
Oh
they
yeah.
like if I go for if I take one ruin, it unleashes the hunger for a single moment and leaves scars on them. I clear a condition and they gain a bond with what the darkness demands of you. So bonds are good.
Yeah.
Or if I mark to ruin, I can tear away at my skin and then um ask them if it's like entices them, horrifies them, or both, and then create a new hunger condition that reflects how they feel for me, and they clear all conditions.
Do you add a new condition permanently to your
Create a
repertoire?
new condition permanently for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you clear, like if it was with you or Ningle, Ningle would clear all the conditions they currently have.
Nice.
Nice.
No, the transfer ruin one is ruin on my lips, which I already have. That was my original ruin move.
Right. Right. Okay. Did we do everybody? I'm sorry.
Yep, that was
Okay.
the
Good.
last one.
Great. All right. So I think we will leave it there, and hopefully we will return. I think next week. Hopefully with everybody once again.
I
For
think so.
Not me.
that's right.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting paid to run around a Halloween party playing a zombie
Hmm.
for not
That
I
insignificant
believe
amount of
hashtag
money.
life
Yeah.
goals.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Um,
that's that's worth missing a game.
Sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, so we'll do something on the stream at the very least. So so join us next time, everyone. Thank you for listening for and or watching, and we'll be back with more adventure on so many levels.
How many levels?
So many apocalypse.